Oh wow, the iCarly guy is talking about Victorious? Yeah, of course I am. Again, remember that video? No? Or this one? No? Well, they exist. Regardless, I figured since I covered the weirdest episode of iCarly, I might as well cover the weirdest episode of Victorious. And not because all of the comments telling me I need to do so or anything. Anyway, I thought for today I need to bring in backup. A Victorious expert, if you will. Yup, you guessed it, the one, the only. No, not him. I'm talking about Offbeat Kiki.
Hey everybody, I'm Offbeat Kiki. Today I'm here to share my 2 cents on the weirdest episode of my favorite live-action Nick show.
I'm so excited to have Offbeat Kiki here on the channel with me today, as their content is amongst some of my favorite. Seriously, please check out Offbeat Kiki's channel. I'll link one of their newer videos down below. So today, Offbeat Kiki and I are going to take a look at this weird episode of Victorious. Talk about all the ways in which this weirdness actually works or doesn't, but most importantly, have fun with it! This episode is titled April Fool's Blank.
This isn't the only Nick series to do an April Fool's episode, but it does stand out creatively, breaking away from the typical episode structure.
Yes, just like the iCarly one, this one is weird in the April Fool's Day episode, except this one isn't a pseudo look-back clip show. But I am really at a loss here with thinking of how to explain and go over the plot, because I don't really think I can call it one. Things happen, and then more things happen, and none of it has any rhyme or reasoning to do so. So let's give it a shot. We start our descent into madness with Tori running into her classroom pretending she lost her hand in a car door slamming incident. Been there before.
The grind don't stop, you know? You gotta give him a round of applause.
No one seems amused, and when she says April Fools, everyone points out how they don't celebrate April Fools anymore, and it's just for kids and all that. Tori keeps trying to question why this is. For some more irregular reasons than normal, everyone in the classroom is picking on Tori, to a point where she's acting like this is the usual while everyone else is being unusual. The teacher for the class now being Mr. Belding from Saved by the Bell. I guess this connects the Saved by the Bell to the NCU of live action shows, and even makes a mention of Screech. Then pushes Tori down, steals her purse, and runs out of the class. And of course things just keep getting weirder and weirder with particularly Kat and Robbie. He just floats away. Okay. After Tori falls back onto the ground, Drake Bell runs into the room and, hey, what are you... Well, this didn't age well.
Wait, was that the bell? Oh, there's the bell.
Okay, that was a good pun. And he explodes, graphically. Then we get the intro, just like iCarly's intro for their April Fool's related episode. The intro has been altered and messed with, and featuring a cameo of the time travel bubble with the iCarly crew flying on by, which was at the ending of that iCarly episode, thus furthering this weird NCU universe connection. Sinjin, who is already weird enough, gets even weirder and creepier. Was that the dancing lobster from the Amanda Show in the background? Anyway, Andre comes running into Tori yelling about a war that's happening before twisting it into a whole thing about a pop quiz, right before yelling about the war again being a real danger.
And you can even hear Leon Thomas laughing a little bit when he picks up Tori, screaming about war.
Happy. He then runs off singing the national anthem, takes an arrow in the thigh, and is carried off by some Swedish people. Andre was literally just shot with an arrow, Ace Ventura style, and no one does a thing about it. And the scene ends with a helicopter picking up Tori and taking her to her next class. Then we have this even more random Wizard of Oz bathroom parody with Kat as Dorothy. She even has a ruby red pear phone, and it actually looks pretty fire. I'd like to purchase one, please. But next we have what may be the most fun and maybe the most nonsensical, stake-escalating conversation and situation yet. The lunch scene where Tori and Andre meet for lunch. Andre breaks the fourth wall about being late because of the Oz skit they just did in the bathroom. Then they get served food and kids feed it to them until Robbie comes in, scares them away by his sheer presence, and tells Tori about the Beverly Hills volcano erupting.
Big news, Tori!
And that they only have a little over 3 minutes left until that erupts. Andre again breaking the illusion of the show by stating just enough time for a commercial break, but then the commercial break doesn't happen, and I think that is my favorite joke written in this episode. Robbie is trying to convince Tori to kiss him. Again, a lot of weird creepy energy thrown at Tori this episode. Andre thought Robbie was talking to him for a second, so Andre says sure to the kiss, but Robbie assures that he only wants to kiss Tori. Sorry, Andre. After some pleading, Tori goes in for the kiss before the frame pauses and a commercial break teaser narrated by Rex happens.
Stay tuned for the second half of Victorious. Or don't. I get paid either way. And now we continue with the exciting second half of Victorious. Press play.
Was that the dancing lobster from the Amanda Show in the background? Anyway, later in the hallway, Jade crawls up to Tori for a tickle fight. It's very awkward and random, but somehow it came off way less creepier than Sinjin or Robbie. But just more examples of Tori being treated so weird this episode, especially since everyone was so freaking mean to her just this morning. Psychowitz has them go into the janitor's closet as the dancing lobster comes and attacks him. So Tori runs into the closet. That turns into the elevator of the Shay's apartment. She says hi to Spencer, who's sitting on the couch as he nonchalantly says hi back, and once again gets into the hall, and that becomes the set of a 70s game show, Match Game. Tori can now win $5,000 Mr. Beast style if she matches one of the panelists' answers with her answer to the sentence Psychowitz says. If she doesn't get them right, the dancing lobster tackles her down to the ground and, okay, again? What is going on? That's not cool!
My favorite scene from this episode is the outdoor lunch scene leading into the game show, because that's when they really ramp up the weirdness. I love the effort that they put into transitioning between scenes. Between the endless updates about volcanoes and butterflies, the very sapphic scene of Jade tickling Tori, and everyone's alter egos in the game show, it really cements the absurdism that we see going on throughout the episode.
This is where the episode title April Fool's Blank comes into play with the question and Kat's answer in general to the sentence. Trina uses her answer as a scene transition to get them back into their home, and Trina asks for an Oompa Loompa. The rest of the cast jump up and scream happy birthday, seems like a Guppy reference to iCarly. Then asking where's the beef, a reference that we are told kids won't get. It's from a 1984 Wendy's commercial.
Where's the beef?
Tori's neighbor comes over eating a banana and tells them his wife says that he talks too much and doesn't dance. So Tori turns on some backing music, everyone starts dancing, and they sing a group song called Shut Up and Dance for their album.
My least favorite thing about this episode is the song at the end. Not because I think it's bad or anything, but Shut Up and Dance has nothing to do with the rest of the episode. And even though the rest of the episode is full of unrelated segments, this one still feels out of place. Ariana Grande sounds amazing in this song though. Anyone who watched the show knew she was gonna be big. They could have done a song about everything being confusing or how crazy their day was, but it kind of feels like they just had a song that they needed to slap in somewhere for album sales.
Exactly. Remember, Nickelodeon wanted to sell music at this point to make larger returns on their intellectual properties. They all drop to the floor at the end of the song, even the dancing lobster.
Also, that SNL style ending is funny, but the way they thank Dan Schneider makes me gag, and that was almost definitely not Lady Gaga.
Yeah, it sure is. A weird and awkward SNL ending goodbye. The shoutouts to the not real Lady Gaga, Gibby's head replica, that also, by the way, has made cameos throughout the whole episode. And yeah, this episode is just a weird mismatch of almost improvised feeling scenes that only interact or intersect by Tori asking questions about why no one likes April Fools anymore. Why does no one celebrate it? Maybe the big overall joke this whole time was on us.
We're playing an April Fool's prank on the audience.
Maybe there is no joke. Maybe the real question we need to be asking is, where's the beef? Kat's hair color, the Dorothy outfit, it all makes sense now. The numbers, Mason, what do they mean? 9 plus 10 is 21. Minecraft burgers. The big overall point is that Wendy's secretly has a plot to take over the fast food market in the television landscape. Or not. Just could mean nothing.
It's the craziest episode ever. Some of it makes absolutely no sense.
There's no real plot line to the episode. We just kind of like go about and make weird jokes and people explode.
So, how does April Fool's Blank differ from the regular episode format of Victorious? If we take a look at a classic banger like Jade Gets Crushed, the plot is much more typical and formulaic. The episode opens with a problem. Tori and Andre both have a goal they need to meet in 3 days, and we see other characters having some small side plot, like Kat having some random fixation, this time Jupiter boots, and Beck working on a photography project. Tori passes her exam with Robbie's help, and Jade helps Andre with a song, and then the real main plot of the episode arises. Andre catches feelings for Jade. Tori helps Andre figure out how to cope with how he's feeling, they sing a song at the end of the episode, which completes Andre's goal, and then he meets a girl, which resolves the whole feelings for Jade issue as the episode ends. So we can break this down into the following steps, which I think can apply to a lot of episodes of Victorious. Step 1. Plot A is introduced and centered around Tori and maybe another member of the gang. Step 2. Little peeks at what the other characters are doing. Step 3. Plot B is introduced. Step 4, plot A is resolved. Step 5, the characters sing a song. And then step 6, plot B is resolved. Now, if we take a look at April Fool's Blank, the plot does not follow this formula at all. It's much more of an ensemble episode, and there's only one problem introduced, if you could even call it that. And there are so many things happening all at once that you can't really consider any one thing a subplot. So what's the purpose of this episode? Why did they write it? Can you even do character analysis on an episode where everyone is behaving so differently and non-canon from how they normally do? My first thought trying to understand April Fool's Blank was that maybe this is a metaphor for how Tori doesn't really fit in with her classmates. Yes, they like her, and she and her friends get most of the roles in the school's projects, but everyone else at Hollywood Arts is multi-talented, and Tori is just a singer who got into the school through circumstance. So for her as a student relatively new to the school to not understand a joke that everyone else is in on would make sense, and that does seem like what's happening in the beginning. Everyone in drama class is speaking nonsense while telling Tori they don't celebrate April Fool's Day. But the more I let this episode tumble around in my head, the more I realize that trying to extrapolate meaning from this episode is a blatant misunderstanding of what they were trying to do. Absurdist comedy is a form of humor based in violations of conventional reasoning and audience expectation, and it's usually achieved through non sequiturs, irrational or absurd situations, and nonsensical expressions. There are multiple moments that can be described by each of those in this episode. Absurdism doesn't have a point, and that's why I like it so much. You're not supposed to try to figure it out because there's nothing to figure out. It's an episode of references and weirdness and non sequiturs just for the sake of it. It's just reveling in silliness, and I think it suits April Fool's and Victorious perfectly. Like a lot of Dan Schneider shows, the humor in Victorious has always been a little weird and a lot ridiculous. Like in Jade Gets Crushed, Tori and Andre eat the guidance counselor Lane's sour cream and onion lotion, and it's not questioned at all, really. More secondary members of the regular cast, like Robbie, Kat, or Sinjin, often do things that are kind of gross or strange, and they usually just get a weird look or a quip from everyone else in the scene. So for everyone to be acting weird and nobody saying anything about it is sort of flipping the show on its head. I think in the grand scheme of the show, April Fool's Blank speaks to the willingness of the writers to do silly things and the working relationship that the actors have with each other. Everyone on set is clearly having fun with this episode.
Concussion!
I want to give a huge thank you to my friend Offbeat Kiki for stopping by the channel today, discussing some Victorious with me, and overall being an amazing content creator.
Thanks so much to Jordan for having me. If you'd like, go ahead and check out my channel where I do in-depth breakdowns of cartoons you only kind of remember. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and I'll see you soon.
Once again, please go check out their content. It's linked down below. We would love to know your thoughts on this episode of Victorious. Which moment from it was your favorite or least favorite? All that good stuff, tell us in the comments. Thank you for hanging out with us today. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter. Or else. I'll be back with another video soon, but until then, later.